Oh man, yesterday was a pretty great day. It was a really great day. I really wouldn't have traded what happened yesterday for anything in the world, believe it or not. But before that, I do need to get to my low, my high, my active kindness. And so my low was I really was wearing this tie in yesterday's video. I didn't really explain that, it's a blue hammer. I thought I should wear a blue outfit to emphasize that, and I thought green would kind of ruin that a little bit. Especially when one school that Horseheads always goes up against is Vestal, and Vestal's green, so I didn't want to accidentally do that. Actually, fun fact, before Elmira became one team, there was Elmira Southside and Elmira Free Academy, and Southside was green, so could have misconstrued for that, actually. So that takes care of that. But my high yesterday was just, I'll just put it to you right now. Yesterday was such a beautiful day. My nephews came over and we went outside and went up to the park. I'll talk more about that in a minute. And my act of kindness was helping my father take care of my nephews when, the parents are out doing a little bit of shopping because, that's what they do. Oh, goodness me. And I am super duper tired. Anyway, good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. And, I pretty much gave away why yesterday was so great because I got to spend an afternoon with my nephews. But this was legitimately the first time in a long time when we really could do more than just stay indoors. Because yesterday was beautiful. In the 60s. Seriously, I had a hoodie on, but underneath I had a t-shirt and shorts. It was, the hoodie really wouldn't cover the shorts. But yeah, I had a t-shirt on, shorts, a hoodie. That was really cool. And I was wearing flip-flops. I really was wearing flip-flops. And these were legit flip-flops, okay? The thongs are what you call those shoes that look like flip-flops, but they have that little piece of plastic that goes between your big toe and whatever's next to your big toe. Yes, if you didn't already know, those are called thongs. I'm not kidding. Look it up. That's really what they're called. So, yeah, I had a flip-flop is the covering of an open-toed shoe that is basically one giant sort of band or arch that you stick your foot into, and that's about it. The thong has that thing you put in between your big toe and again, whatever's next to your big toe. So now you know. And Tivas are still called Tivas, where you have something holding down the front, something holding down the back of the foot, and the heel of the foot. Those are Tivas. So, if you didn't already know, now you know. Although, now I think about it, well, honestly, in this case, it really wouldn't have made much difference. Because when we went up to the park yesterday, for those of you who don't know, the park in my old neighborhood really isn't, grandiose or, something gigantic. I mean, it has a few essentials that a park has, It has a blacktop with a basketball hoop, swing set, a slide, a sort of jungle gym type thing, which, which my nephews couldn't get on anyway because they're too little for that. They have I forget what this sort of thing is called, but it's a giant metal, there's a giant metal horse and a giant metal ram on top of a coil, and you're supposed to rock back and forth. So there's that. And I forget what this thing is also called. It's a giant circular disc also on several coils, and outside the disc there's these like bars that you sit on and like you hop up and down or something. I forget what that's called too, but that's up there. There's a oh oh. Sorry, I went to bed late last night. There is a park bench, which is actually a swinging bench, so that's really cool. There's a tree you can climb. At the other end of the park, there's a sort of like well, it's supposed to be a place you can do like something like baseball or something, but the fence just indicates like where it is, and that's really about it. It's a pretty big and open park, but there's not a lot going on in it, if that makes sense. And around the swing area and where those giant metal horse and ram are, like there's a whole bunch of wood chips, and I'm thinking, okay, I probably should have worn closed-toe shoes for this. I mean, surprisingly, I really didn't get anything in my shoes that was bad at the park. Funny enough, it actually happened on the way walking up to the park. Like a little rock. Just somehow, I didn't kick anything. I was just walking straight as normal. And then, like, a rock gets, like, caught underneath, like, my foot and, you know, my flip-flop. And, like, no matter how much I'm, like, trying to shake my foot or whatever, because really, I shouldn't have to take off the entirety of the shoe just to get rid of it. And, like, no matter how much I'm shaking my foot, like, it's not coming out. And it's just getting, that wasn't cool. But it was okay because I was with my nephews, and that's always going to be cool. After my nephews were picked up, I hung out with my father a little more, watched a little bit of March Madness. Syracuse is in the Sweet 16. You know, here's the thing. I really don't have any dog in this fight that is March Madness. I really don't. But I live in upstate New York, and my parents both got their masters from Syracuse University. So, I guess go Orange, and if that makes sense. Although, for those of you guys wondering, my mother got her master's in nursing. My father got his master's in business, in case you wonder what the masters were in. So, there you go. But yeah, Syracuse actually, they were doing great, but then the wheels started coming off a little bit, and West Virginia started coming. And here's the thing, Syracuse is an 11th seed, and they beat a 3 seed. And West Virginia was supposed to be like really, really, really good, but, you know, the wheels just fell off of West Virginia to the point where it was relatively late in the second half, because they only do halves for this. Like, late in the second half, and that's when West Virginia finally got, like, its first lead. But then Syracuse sort of, like, rallied and sort of got, like, I think they won by, like, 4 points or something. But for a while, like, literally earlier in the game, like, in the first half, it was 28-14. That's how good Syracuse was playing. And then I don't really know. Other notable games I saw. Well, Illinois got upset. Baylor is looking pretty great. Not really. I mean, let's be honest, you have a lot of games going on. And there's going to be a lot of games going on all this week. In fact, I think like that's the maddening part of March Madness. You want to see more, but then it abruptly stops until the next week. And then when you finally get to the championship, you're like, can't wait for next year. And then, because like, March Madness has always been one of those times of year where, like, only right up until March starts, where college basketball flies completely under everybody's radar. And then, like, the instant we get to March, we get, like, conference tournaments, bracket making, all that stuff. And it really does feel, even though, because here's the thing, they start the tournament, like, they start late March. They're only now at the Sweet 16, and it's, like, the final full week in March. It's going to be, like, mid-April when March Madness finally ends. So, why even call March Madness at all if you're going to do that, you know? Like, start it all on March 1st and then have it end on March 31st. That would be the appropriate thing to do. But then again, I'm probably just some guy who's reading too much into it. It really does feel like as quickly as it starts, it just ends. And then no one talks about it for like a year. Longer than a year, it feels like sometimes. But I guess it's all necessary. I mean, it actually makes me wonder, do those students get spring break off? Or are they allowed to do that after, like, the season's over? I don't know. Because college students graduate some point in May, and it would make sense if, like, if you weren't able to go on spring break because of the whole March Madness thing, you know, you could do something like after, but I feel cheated. I would feel cheated if that happened. Like, yeah, I won nationals in basketball, but I couldn't ever go on spring break. I would feel legitimately cheated. I mean, I was always a nerd, so what am I going to do for spring break, if anything? But it just would have felt weird, you know? Like, different. I'm trying to think. I can't really think of any, outside of, like, the spring break when I was at Trinity Poly, I can't really think of anything that was bad. And honestly, what happened during the spring break in Trinity Poly really wasn't anything I did. It was actually what my mom did. But here's the thing. The spring break was for... Here's the thing. Trinity Poly spring break was like 3 weeks. In case you're wondering, that's why from now until like the second week in April or maybe the third week in April, I have to do a fact check. I'm not going to be doing a class and session video until then. But anyway, because that's when Trinity Poly would have the spring break. If they didn't already start it. If they didn't already start it, or if they didn't already end it. Because I feel like it should take some time for spring break. Anyway, where was I? Right. So, I'm talking about the spring break back when I was at Trinity Poly. And it was for 3 weeks. What happened with my mom lasted like an entire week. So, kind of got ruined a little bit for me. I mean, yeah, collectively that spring break was fine. But you want your spring break to be better than fine, you know? But then again, what was I going to do? I just stayed at home for those 3 weeks. Honestly, because I was always in the mentality where if I'm gone for like if I'm like over 3.5 hours away for days, weeks, months on end, and I finally get home, I'm not going to want to go anywhere. I'm weird like that. Like, I never want to go home after like being far away for too long. Or, I never want to leave home, after being too far away for too long. Like, I want to get home from whatever vacation I'm on, like, a day. Oh, sorry. My computer screen went dark. I never want to go home, or I never want to do anything, like, the day before, like, my priorities start being, like, back when I was in school, or work, or something like that. Or, like, if I'm on vacation, I want to get home, like, a day early. So I have, like, a good, long at least 12 hours to just unwind, enjoy my final hours of relaxation before I got to hit the old grind. I'm weird like that, I guess. But I like to think I'm a little bit better. Although, then again, if I was famous, I don't think I'd have to worry about that because every day would be a vacation, right? That's cool. Anyway, my weekend last night was capped off by seeing my mom. At wonderful evening. Gonna see my parents again. That should be fun. And I think I have a pretty fun week all around. Like, favorite, share, the subscribe button, follow me on social platform, turn me on YouTube. I'm very home this video for all of you guys watching. Enjoy today. Hope you have a wonderful Monday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to Chairman, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. I'm always going to be back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.